Radio Free Skaro!
Hello, everyone. Welcome to Radio Free Skaro, episode number 994. I'm Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Kyle in Los Angeles.
Kyle in Los Angeles.
What the hell's happening?
Not. Chris is back.
And Chris in Edmonton.
Chris in Edmonton is back after having to not be here last week talking about Doctor Who, a brand new Doctor Who episode that you missed, Chris. You missed it.
I missed the recording. I didn't miss the episode.
We should hear what you think of it.
Yeah, what'd you think of the episode, Chris?
It was fine.
Okay.
Pretty much lines up with everything we said, yeah.
Man, imagine if we did that for a live stream, which is fine. Yeah, it's all right. Okay, well, that's it for this one. And next week.
I had a lovely bout of, I don't know, food poisoning, norovirus, some stuff like that, something like that. So I was, puking my guts out and whatever. That was fun.
Thanks.
But after a couple days after the fact, I did get to watch the live stream with Kyle, and I agreed with a lot of what was said. There's some good stuff. There's some bad stuff. I dramatically preferred Anita to Joy.
I think we all did.
As a character.
We all did, but,
I honestly, I don't know. I'm always... I should never have this level of surprise when it's a Moffat story, but I was very surprised that Joy featured, I don't want to say as little as she did, because she was there mostly throughout. But, her character was very much downplayed to a point, and that just surprised me. It's not good, it's not bad. It is what it is, but and then I watched the proms, unlike Kyle and Warren.
Yeah, I'm a terrible human being, as we know.
That was fun. I was surprised that there was at one point there was like a cavalcade of monsters, and they were playing. What were they playing? Was it "I Am the Doctor"? I can't remember what it was. Whatever song was playing, all I could think of in my mind was, why are they not doing all the strange creatures?
I think it was the Doctor Who theme. I think literally the finale was when they all came out. And it was
it was way earlier than that. It was maybe a third, halfway through, something.
All right, yeah, okay,
somewhere there. But I just couldn't. I was baffled as to why they weren't playing all the strange.
It's already
creatures.
be done. They probably played that at the last proms for one.
Oh, probably. But it doesn't mean they can't do it again. I mean, how many people who were around for this one weren't around for 2013?
Well, there's lots of music. Lots of music needs to be played, and different eras and stuff.
I agree with you that all the strange creatures thematically makes more sense. But I Am the Doctor is a banger and a half, so there is that. It's
a banger. It got the wave. It got the wave. Everyone recognized it and cheered when it started because it's such an iconic piece from Murray Gold. But
and then the other big part of what was discussed last week, I did watch the War Games, and I found it so disjointed.
Oh, really?
I found it less disjointed than the Daleks, to be honest with you.
There's a lot more cut out of the War Games to get to the same line.
What's his name? Sancho Panza, or whatever his name is, coming in. That made no sense whatsoever. But to be fair, I don't know how you make that make sense.
Yeah,
he was, as you guys talked about, he was still in there, even though you thought he might not have been.
Yeah, this is the thing with these stories, the things that we've watched a billion times. We see all the stuff that gets taken out. We don't. It's tough to watch that without seeing the complete picture as it is now. We always.
I think one of you. Well, I think it might have been you, Warren. One of you guys mentioned that at the end of the day, okay, this 90-minute cut exists, but so does the full 10-episode
version.
One. You want to watch that?
You can watch either.
There it is.
It's
Just
a remix.
Grab your DVD and there you are.
Yeah, it's a remix.
And massive kudos to Kyle. Well, number one, thanks for filling in at the last minute, but massive kudos to Kyle for pointing out Terrence Dicks's Target novelization of the War Games at 144, 128 pages, whatever it was.
I think it was Malcolm Hulk. Malcolm Hulk wrote that.
Or Hulk's, rather, not Dicks's. Yeah, you're right. It's Hulk. Anyway, the novelization of the War Games, which I haven't read that since I was a kid, so probably 35, 40 years ago.
Yeah.
But how much how much did they have to take out of that to fit the format? Probably tons.
Well, but the difference is that with print, you can compress things a lot more easily just by describing something, as opposed to like having to set it all up like you have to do on TV, right? You have to see the thing happening in front of you.
You can play with the timing. Yeah.
You can shorthand stuff a lot easier, or expand on it.
You can also use a smaller typeface size as well. If you
that is kind of like
that's
using 1.5 speed on the TV show.
Yeah,
how many papers or exams have we written? Double space, whatever. You just make the margins a certain size, or you play with the font size or whatever.
Yeah, Benjamin Cook and Rich Tipple were on Something Who podcast this past week, and they talked about how establishing the mystery was important and the ending was important, but like it's the middle part that sort of gets truncated. I think episode 5 had literally 2 minutes in it, I think, for total from its runtime.
Given it was a 90-minute cut, I was honestly very surprised that 12-ish or whatever minutes of it were from episode 10, from the departure and the trial, and all that kind of there was a lot of the runtime was dedicated to that, which, I mean, that's the whole point of it is to culminate in that. So you need to put some time into that, but I was surprised as to how much.
You know what? Once you take out the silly little "let's escape" 8 times and then get caught, I mean that episode 10. Let's face it, does kind of drag. Does kind of stretch 25 minutes up to its limit. So I was okay with.
I mean,
you can tell what they're up to. Yeah.
Dix and Hulk were also just trying to write themselves out of however many corners.
Yeah, exactly.
In however little time they had as well.
But hey, didn't that HD footage look great? Boy, oh boy.
Oh, delicious.
It also pretty good.
Yep.
I'm with you, Chris, that the part where they put the modern doctors in instead of randos. I love that bit.
I love that so much.
And that's another remix thing too. It's like you don't have to like it or not. It's just you have the original if you want it.
That's one of those. It's one of those things I loved, because I can adapt. Unlike a lot of fandom who are like, but no, that was just beautiful. I had no expectation that was going to happen.
No,
and retrospectively, it makes such perfect sense that it did. But it's gorgeous. I love that so much.
I want to point out to all those fans of that ilk. Chris was once like you. Certainly back in the early days of this podcast, and probably I was too. And Chris, of all people, has changed over the years. You can too.
I had one fan point out that Catherine Tate doesn't know much about Doctor Who, and she was hosting the proms, and I'm like, and
why would she?
Yeah, why would she?
I said back when I was young, this very thing, that I would get really mad that somebody didn't know enough about Doctor, because I was young and stupid, and now who cares? Like I've forgotten a bunch of stuff myself. Who cares? Somebody was like, well, why aren't you mad at them? I'm like, well, why would I be? Whatever. She's an actor. She can do whatever she wants.
What do you mean Peter Purvis doesn't remember every detail from 48 years ago when he appeared on the show for a year? Come on.
Actually, he does know a lot of stuff about it.
He knows a lot. But I mean, to your point, people have this weird expectation that, I'm going to be like, it was not only publicized, it was celebrated at how little Nicola Coughlan knew about Doctor Who going into her stint on it.
Mm-hmm. Now, the other side of that is it's delightful when Capaldi or Tennant turn out to be massive nerds about this stuff. That's great. That's really fun to see.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, this is a double-edged sword, as we've talked about countless times, I don't doubt. But at the end of the day, would you rather have Eccleston, Tennant, Smith, Capaldi be the big nerds, or would you rather have RTD, Moffat, Chibnall running the show being the big nerds?
Oh, absolutely, the person running the show.
Yeah. At least with the knowledge of the show. Unlike some franchises.
I knew exactly where that was going.
It's not like you can't have both, because I mean, RTD and Tennant would geek out over Barrowman too. Would just geek out over whatever as it happened. And that's great. It's fantastic, but it shouldn't be your default expectation.
No, it shouldn't. No, it shouldn't.
Unrealistic.
Yeah.
That's what's realistic.
Well, actually, here's a counter example. I'm reading this book about the history of the MCU, and it kind of talks about the behind the scenes stuff. And the reason they hired Kenneth Branagh for Thor had nothing to do with his knowledge of Marvel comics. It was all because of his Shakespearean expertise. That's what they wanted to project, right? Kevin Feige didn't know that much about Marvel to begin with, and then he went and researched everything.
Now he knows too much. Now he knows too much.
Possibly, but at the time he didn't. And he was Lauren Schuler Donner's assistant, and he learned a lot from that. And from Richard Donner, too.
Mm-hmm. I would hope so. I would hope so.
What else we got? Oh, yeah.
And Warren, you're digging on the new Superman trailer. That surprised me.
I'm digging ish, but all you got to do is throw John Williams in front of me, and I'll you're halfway there, baby.
Stephen remarked,
He's not wrong. That's true. Like, it might be good. I do like the fact that it's goofy Superman as opposed to dark and brooding Superman. Snyder cut. Who cares? Like, just give me some happy nonsense.
I'm not going to lie. I was glad to see Crypto in that trailer.
I was too. I'm like, because Crypto is goofy as hell. Like, it pretty much sets the tone. Oh, he's got his super dog. Okay, this isn't going to be a bunch of 9/11s happening. Like, Batman v Superman, or whatever. Man of Steel.
As Kyle said, James Gunn's not dumb or whatever.
I mean, I don't like everything James Gunn does, but whatever. Like, also, it's a big Hollywood product. I'll like it or I won't. Whatever.
I don't even know what a Crypto is. Comes from
Superman's dog. A dog with little cape.
He's got a dog.
Golden retriever.
I'm not even kidding.
He's got
a real thing.
I don't know if it's canonical. It's
no, it's in the comics. It's for sure in the comics.
Of course, it's in the comics.
No, I mean the dog is, but it's the breed of the dog. I mean.
I see.
I don't know what's been put in the canon.
You're gonna upset that no, wait, that's supposed to be a Lhasa Apso. What are you doing? You've ruined Superman for me.
All I know about dogs are they big or are they small? I couldn't tell you what a breed is. Like, are they golden retriever or something? Like, that's about it for my knowledge of dogs. So he's a nice, cute little guy.
Even Smallville had Crypto. So
Smallville doesn't exist as far as I'm concerned.
Didn't have the John Williams music for one.
Well, I just remember when I was way back when working in the Crow's Nest Pass, I was watching it with my coworker, and she was explaining it to me, and I'm like, so he's not Superman. So there's no Superman at all. So there's just a bunch of small town crap. The hell is this for? Like, that's for the beginning of Superman the movie, the greatest movie ever made, not 16 seasons.
Which more or less was a montage with a little bit of dialogue.
Yeah.
Also, I know I'm stretching this out.
We are a little bit.
I was talking to somebody about CG, Grand Moff Tarkin, and all the rest, and all this de-aging nonsense. And even though I think the de-aging is great in Indiana Jones, Superman the movie, and many other examples, you've got somebody who's not Christopher Reeve playing young Christopher Reeve. And then you have Christopher Reeve. And you know what happens? It works just fine.
That's fine.
So in Andor, when they theoretically have a guest appearance from Grand Moff Tarkin, I beg of you, make it an actor. I'm pretty sure Tony Gilroy will do that. But make it an actor, not some CG nonsense.
Yeah. I mean, I'm both looking forward to and a little weary about seasons, because now they know, oh, wow, I guess we're critical darlings now, so we can stretch the limit. Please don't stretch the limit.
Yeah, that worked great for season 3 of The Bear, didn't it?
Yeah, please.
Not that I watched seasons 1 or 2, but
stay the course, Andor, stay the course.
I've got very similar concerns about the second season of Severance, which is coming out in a couple weeks. As we record this, because season 1 is what it was, and then the writers of the show had spats and whatever else went on, and there's 3 years in between seasons, and that's a lot of time to have opinions and remarks and feedback put out there, and take it or ignore it as whatever.
Just to go back to my early days in journalism, the reason you go to a small town is you make all your mistakes there. And you can liken 26 episodes a year of TNG to that. Like, they're making all their mistakes on screen and fixing them as they go. And is that better or worse? I don't know.
We'll find out. Yeah. Severance season 2 premieres this month.
But if you had 3 years to think about it, you can make all the wrong decisions too.
Yeah, well, if Dr. Pulaski shows up, then we know what's going to happen there.
Severance as Dr. Pulaski.
Anyway. All right, that's the opening banter completed.
Yep.
Chapter marker there. No, not really. On this episode, we should point out Moonbase commentary begins. If you are a Patreon supporter, if you already heard it, you've already downloaded it. You might not have listened to it yet, but we're gonna be spacing those out over the course of the next month or so, leading up to Gallifrey One, about which more a little bit later. But first, we lead with this Tom Baker MBE. Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Awarded with the
what took so long?
Member of the Order of the British Empire on for the New Year's honor list. Him and 1,200 other people were on the list. Only 5 knighthoods and damehoods, though, or however you say is what you were saying, Chris.
Is there was he at a ceremony? Because he is 90.
No, they were announced.
No, you just get a letter in the mail, I think.
Okay.
Something like that.
And there's going to be
certificate.
There is a ceremony coming in this year, but whether or not people go to it, I don't know how it works. I don't,
especially with the sheer number of people who get celebrated in the New Year's or birthday honors.
Deserved though. This is Tom MF Man Baker,
right? I know what you mean.
Well, MBEs. So there's five levels.
Yeah,
and MBE is the entry point. So. Kind of wish he would have gotten something higher, like a CBE or OBE or even a knighthood.
The Gatherer. Yeah. He's the Gatherer now.
The Gatherer.
But I mean, kudos to him. I really wish that. I'm going to sound so terrible when I say this. I really wish it had come earlier so he could enjoy it more or for longer, because he's, 90?
He's going to be 91 in a couple weeks. Yeah,
91 this month.
January 20th.
So, I mean, long may he live, but I would really wish he would have gotten this in his 40s. Like, there's people...
In his 40s. I'm not sure he would have got it in his 40s. I don't.
During the heyday of his run as Doctor Who.
I don't. You know what? I don't. I feel like they've been throwing around MBEs a little more to the artistic crew a little more laxly here in the 21st century, as opposed to it was big when the Beatles.
I couldn't see it.
Yeah, when the Beatles got it, they would give it to Olivier and Gielgud and stuff like that. Maybe
in the 11th in the whatever Middle Ages, whatever, when they're giving out knighthoods, I don't think they're going to give somebody a knighthood for services to television in 1344.
Probably not.
They should, though. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Chameleon would as King John.
Yeah, I feel like services to television, were probably it was so ephemeral. I mean, they were wiping half of it anyway. Why would you here's commemorating your service to television that we
just give it that they're erasing as they give to you.
Exactly. Yeah.
They're making up for past mistakes. I don't know.
Yeah, they are now. I feel like.
The other way to look at this is he is at least able to enjoy this a little bit.
Yeah, and Warren, Tom Baker's birthday is January 20th, so let's make a point of celebrating that on January 20th.
Maybe I'll watch
year.
my favorite. Maybe I'll watch Pyramids of Mars during the inauguration.
There you go. Exactly. I'm watching
because the threat of Sutek is actually less than the threat we actually see coming our way.
We're recording this on Saturday. I'm going to be watching Robot Part 2 because I'm watching season 12. One episode a week in honor of its 50th anniversary. So
maybe I'll watch Robots of Death. That's another great one.
There you go. Watch that one too. On January.
There's a lot of good Tom Baker.
A lot to pick from, yeah.
A lot of good. 42 stories total, including Shada, which has a production code, so you should be including it. It's 5M. More guests at Gallifrey One. This is there are so many. I saw, because there's actually a thing in Doctor Who magazine about the upcoming Gallifrey One. Steve Moffat's going to be there. Obviously, I had legitimately forgotten that Catherine Tate's also going to be there.
I looked at half the people in the picture and I'm like, I forgot that.
Because they've been spreading about. It is the guest list is madness.
Staggering.
It's staggering how jam packed this is. But joining that list is now Alex McQueen, Miles Richardson, Lisa Greenwood, Sophia Ingar, Andy Lane, Charlie Hayes, cast and crew of Big Finishes, Vamp PD is going to be there, along with a whole host of regulars, including Steve Roberts making his return to Gallifrey One after a few years away. So that's pretty cool. So that was announced this past week. But Gallifrey One is only 40 days away. Tickets are still available. Please come out and have a blast with us at, of course, Well, go ahead.
Did I say I bought my flight last week? I did buy my flight.
You did buy your flight. You're going. Yep, you are going, because no one tells Warren what kind of fun he can have. Damn it.
That was part of my. I was like, am I going to let that orange bag up beep? Tell me what to do? No, I'm not.
No,
I didn't know that Warren had fun.
Yeah, he does.
Well, I do now.
So he's fun.
There you go.
I've seen him.
When the latest batch of guests were announced, we were looking through, and Kat reacted quite positively to Mara Wilson.
Right.
Outside of her purpose at Galley is
her purpose.
Obviously a quite a sizable name in the industry.
Isn't she a mathematician too, or she has some sort of math degree?
Oh, I don't know.
You might be
thinking of Danica McKellar.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know.
I might be actually. Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
Star of the Wonder Years and now many Hallmark Christmas movies. But
I'm sure Mara Wilson is sick and tired of people making that mistake.
Oh
She came to prominence at a comparable age, so
Yeah. Anyway, Gallifrey One.
a little younger even, but
yeah, it's coming up, and I'm really looking forward to it. So much so that we're getting there a couple days earlier, just because. Just want to be in LA.
The Cutaway Comics guys are going to be there. Nice.
The Cutaway Comics guys.
Hadn't gone that far down the list yet.
Yeah. Lots of people are going to be there. It's going to be a grand old time, just like it always is. And, Steve Moffat's going to be there, for crying out loud. And Catherine Tate.
Yeah.
And Jenna Coleman and Julie Gardner and Joe Collins.
Baffling.
And Julianne Ross.
Here?
There's a ton of people going to be there. So it's, it's going to be another great show. Another
and
great
two
show.
doctors. And Jenna Coleman.
Right.
And Louise James.
And
Nicola Bryan. Wendy Padbury. Wendy Padbury's daughter.
Wendy's Padbury's
gonna be
daughter
there.
is going to be there.
Is she's doing Big Finish now too, right? I think, or am I wrong about that?
Think so.
Am I mixing her up with Sadie Miller? Who's definitely doing Big
Maybe Wendy Padbury's daughter's an actress, whatever they, however they choose to name themselves, in their own right. So,
whole host of guests, ton of guests. Gallifrey One. Get
it's
tickets there.
How such a lineup comes year after year after year.
Yeah. February 14th, 16th is when Gallifrey One is, of course. So do come out to that. It's a blast. Of course, we'll be doing podcasts from there all weekend, but as per usual. But, yep. Just wonderful. Just wonderful. Always splits up the winter, I find. And you know what? Given the events of the past November, I feel it's going to be a nice group hug for a lot of us from around the world.
I want to see my American friends again.
Yeah. So... It's going to be fun.
Or they all moved somewhere else.
They flee to Turks and Caicos.
Like Vancouver.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe. Well, I'll see them then, I guess.
Doctor Who Magazine 612 came out recently. They had a bit about Gallifrey One in there. They had a bit about big thing about the war games in color, breaking that down. They also had Russell T Davies talk about war between the land and the sea being a ways off. I'm not quoting him on that, but it's a ways off.
Yeah.
Which
and all the reactionary YouTubers out there are like, oh, it's delayed, and it's not. It was supposed to be ready by now.
Is it bad that I forget it even exists until he mentions it? Because I consistently do.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, they wrap production on December 10th, and now the long post-production begins. And I'm so curious as to what the budget was for this. Like, for 5 episodes of a spin-off, was it comparable, per episode to Doctor Who? Was it less? Was it...
You'd think I would unit sets would get reused, for one.
Yeah, I mean, the big unit set, probably,
because we know units involved, so...
Yeah, so they would just reuse that stuff.
Sure.
Yeah. My guess, I mean, this would be casting my speculation hat on it a bit, but my guess is it's going to be 2026. I think it's probably going to be a year. I thought perhaps it would go out in the fall of 2025. I get the impression, just because, I mean, if Doctor Who is renewed after season 2 by Disney Plus,
true.
It might be by the BBC. That's entirely. But if Disney says no on it, exactly. Like they haven't even started production on anything yet. So that would mean it's a lot of. So I think to bridge that gap, I think they're probably going to kick that spin-off down the road a little bit.
That makes sense.
And
it gives Disney more stuff to show. So
yeah.
I don't know if the formal designation is production or pre-production, but I mean, writing has.
That'd be pre-production.
Probably begun, I'm sure.
Writing over
That's
season
not even
3?
pre-production, actually. It's
yeah. I don't think. I think they're holding off on everything until they know for sure. But I think scripts or at least certainly ideas are in the can for that.
Yeah, they're probably reaching out to writers to come up with stuff. Pitch stuff to them.
They
probably haven't. They wouldn't have had tone meetings or
that costs them nothing.
Whatever, but
pitch meetings. Yeah.
So when they probably say, you're gonna have to work in commercial breaks because our new production coordinator is Toby now.
Overlord to Toby. Yeah, you beat me to it.
Yeah. We're going to have to maybe work some of those in, just so you know.
Doctor Who back on YTV.
Yeah, YTV in Canada.
Which doesn't even exist anymore.
It doesn't, does it? That's right, they got rid of it. Oh, man. So we'll see. We'll see what that's like. But, we'll find out more, I suppose, once season 2 broadcasts. As we guesstimate is March 28th, but don't hold us to that. We're just quoting from that email that was leaked a few months ago.
Yeah, we're leakstimating is what we're doing.
Yeah, kind of that. Yeah. So there. Anyway, all that and more in Doctor Who Magazine 612. Hey, there's some BFI events coming in the UK for upcoming Blu-ray releases that have not happened yet here in North America. We don't have screening date. We don't have release dates for season 7, John Pertwee, but there's going to be a Spearhead from Space screening at the BFI on February 1st. Tickets should be going on sale this coming week for that.
I saw something on, I want to say Blue Sky.
Okay.
But Peter Crocker had said that, so somebody made a complaint or a grumble that the BFI has done a Spearhead from Space screening before.
Oh.
Which they did in 2011, 12, something
when
like
Blu-ray
that.
came out,
That was
probably.
12 years ago. Come on. 13 years ago, actually. Now.
And Peter Crocker chimed in saying it's basically the same thing. They've just cleaned up the print that much more because of the Blu-ray stuff.
Okay.
But it's like, there's no difference in content. So things like the Fleetwood Mac song, I'm assuming were probably part of it back then and will be again here. But,
I've lost track of the Fleetwood Mac saga. If it's, I need to watch that Blu-ray again. And maybe it's in the UK and not in North America. I don't know. I don't remember. If Fleetwood Mac's in the most recent edition of it.
I can't remember distinctly. I want to say one of the UK releases didn't, and every other one did. And
I know.
None of the North American ones, I think one North American one had it, and I couldn't tell you if it was Blu-ray or DVD or whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm expecting that whenever we do get the season 7 box set, it's probably not going to be there. But at the end of the day, I don't really care.
No. By that time, Oh Well by Fleetwood Mac's going to be in public domain. Let's face it, probably. So it's just like, we'll just wait long enough. Just imagine when the WKRP box set comes out in like 2089 and think, we can finally put all those Rolling Stones and Pink Floyd songs in there.
You're on your deathbed at 90 and you're like, I win.
Didn't you buy the good version of the?
It was given to me. It's
set?
given to me the best version, and I actually went through literally because there's a like a wiki page or something listing all the songs played in it, and every single song except the ones by the Stones and Pink Floyd were in there, which sadly does still, like there's a scene in it where Arthur Carlson, the radio station GM, comes in and Johnny Fever's fallen asleep and there's dogs barking on the radio and it's from Pink Floyd's Dogs from Animals and and he's making a joke about it and that is gone. So I was like, well, what do we do here? The song is part of the joke and not just
I'd make a remark about how Pink Floyd famously just never lets anybody do anything like that, but Gilmour and Waters both gave permission to Ice-T to cover Comfortably Numb recently for Body Count.
Oh,
so,
wow.
You mean you do mean Ice-T. I was screwing up several ices in my head.
Yeah.
No, Body Count is Ice-T's band, but yeah.
They're still around. Like that was a kind of a one-trick pony back when it came out in the 90s.
That's what I thought, but no.
Everything comes back.
Also, I left an Ice-T concert halfway. That's how bad he was.
Wow. Jeez.
I'd also seen Public Enemy a couple weeks beforehand, so it's kind of hard to match
that's
that.
the bar. That's the bar right there.
Yeah, it's a bit of a come down.
That's
the only concert I remember leaving partway through was KMFDM, and I like KMFDM, but they were just doing so dreadfully.
Oh, wow.
And their opening band sucked.
Steven, come on, chime in with your worst concert.
No, because I only go to concerts that I want to go to, so I've never left.
I wanted
to go to KMFDM.
Wasn't good.
Yeah, exactly.
I was phoning it in.
No, I didn't. No. Nope, never left a concert. Sorry. Can't say
right. You're a purist.
I have seen Pink Floyd, though. I think of the three of us, I'm the only one who's seen Pink Floyd.
Proper Pink Floyd or...
Actual, 87.
Commonwealth, right?
94 Pink Floyd, yeah, 94. June 28th, 94.
Is that the one with the pigs flying around?
Yes, there were. There were pigs coming out of the speaker towers for one of these days. I'm going to cut you into little pieces, which, of course, they play the Doctor Who theme in. And I yelled and screamed at that point.
all by myself.
Literally all by myself. I said, yeah, because they knew it was coming because they played it note for note how they did it in the 87 tour that was on the soundtrack album that I had. So
nice.
Anyway.
I still watch Delicate Sound of Thunder and Pulse far more than I should for music.
In other news, we are old.
We are old, but listen, I watch Pink Floyd live at Pompeii quite often too.
And, I've never been as big a fan of Pompeii as I prefer David Gilmour doing his stuff at Pompeii, which is some Pink Floyd, some solo.
Right.
I know very little about Pink Floyd. What's the name of the album where the guy's on fire?
Wish You Were Here.
Wish You Were Here.
Yeah, that's a good album. I remember listening to that when
my
I worked at a
favorite
bookstore in the back.
Yeah, the Pink Floyd Live at Pompeii, sorry everyone, is amazing. It's my favorite 3-day era of Pink Floyd because they're just raw and rocking. And the great thing is that on the back of their amps, because it's well shot and there's like a big tracking shot around it during part 1 of Echoes. And you can see on the back of their amps, it says Pink Floyd London. And there's a Beastie Boys video that they also shoot somewhere in the desert. On the back of their amps, it says Pink Floyd London because they know what the score is. Yeah, so Pink Floyd Live at Pompeii. It is my favorite. Love it, especially
I do enjoy the interview parts of it.
Yeah, I watched it.
And then the Beastie Boys, of course, purveyors of Sabotage from your favorite film ever, Star Trek 2009.
Yeah.
Great video.
God.
And Star Trek Beyond, where they played Public Enemy in that. I was like, why couldn't you do this Attack on the Planet to Public Enemy? It'd have been so much. It would still suck, but it'd be cooler.
We're having such a good time. Why do we have to talk about the Kelvin Trek films?
I like the Kelvin Trek films. I'm sorry.
Well, you are wrong, especially Into Darkness.
All right. Anyway, into the other thing. Savages, the animated Savages, is also having a BFI screening on a Friday night, February 28th, is when they're doing that for the Savages. Peter Purvis, I think, is going to be there because he was in it. And so there you go. There's 2 things, which means, these release dates are probably coming relatively soon because usually the BFI events happen within a month or so.
Within a few weeks. Yeah.
Of a thing. I say a month, Chris, because inevitably these things seem to be delayed by a couple weeks every time. So like the actual releases of these discs. So. Which means that if it's going to come out soon in the UK, maybe we'll have on the pre-order page. I'm not counting on it, but
in 2026, in celebration of the war against the land and the sea.
Yeah,
we're still. Well, I mean, season 25 comes out just after Galley.
Yeah, February 25th.
So I wouldn't be shocked if we had maybe April, May
or June
for. Season
Speaking
7.
of Galley, I have no white whale to pursue because I've got the Shooty and Millie figures, so I don't need anything else. So I'm not going to be pining for the dealer's room while we're doing a live show.
Yeah, I feel I might have to order my my 15th Doctor action figure from afar, just because by the time the dealer's room opens, I feel like those might be lapped up. So I might just have to.
Yeah, just pay the distance tax.
Yeah,
especially if the dealer's room is open while we're on stage.
Yeah,
it always is. Yeah,
not always. Sometimes it opens after we wrap up or partway through. But
there's been a time or two when I've helped out to bring stuff into the dealer's room because friends of friends asked me to, and then I just bought stuff the night before.
Oh,
because they were like, oh, I don't care if I'm making money now or then.
That's true.
I think that's how I got. Might have been Jody. It was some special figure that was tough to get, so probably Jody.
Yeah,
maybe your fake Jody Barbie.
No, that I got. I don't know where the hell I got that. Just picked it up somewhere. It's a random pickup.
Speaking of Blu-ray releases and stuff, I'm almost done watching the Blake 7 Blu-ray. It's great. It's great, everyone.
I need to crack the plastic.
I watched half of the new documentary.
Yeah, I watched that. I literally watched Bounty a couple nights ago, so I've got 2 episodes left to go, and I've watched the extras and everything. It's good.
I did chuckle watching the live stream from last episode with Kyle really enjoying it, because of course you would. Kyle is right up your alley. Of course you're gonna love it. And then I just liked how I just finished episode 5 and you had to break the news about the web.
A little bit. Yeah,
the censor rights of Blake 7. Yes,
that last scene just goes on forever.
It is tough.
God, it's so bad. The previous parts are good, and then it gets bad.
Yeah.
Are you watching with the rejiggered effects?
I am. I'm very curious to see what they are. And they're mostly all just. I mean, the transporter effects are redone, which is good. Let's face it. And
they've got a certain stinky charm to them. Come on.
Some of the Liberator model shots are replaced as well, I think, right?
They are, because and they say so in the documentary, but because they booked time to shoot some Liberator beauty shots for the model. And then they needed more, and so they shot some in Ealing, but without people who are skilled at doing model shots, so they just kind of look slightly worse. And then the worst, of course, are the paper cutout models.
Which they talk about in the documentary too.
Yeah, which is like on the opening title sequence. So they've actually remastered the title sequence. There's a different,
so
slightly
it's a real model
different
on there.
but it's like it, but it's like a 3D version of a cutout. It's better, but it's respectful, so it's good. So yeah, they did really good work on.
So in the documentary, and I've only gotten halfway through. I can't remember. You know the name of the two actors who are bantering back and forth. Two of the women in the show,
Jan Chappell and Sally Nivette.
Yes,
yeah.
thank you. But they've got a big model of the Liberator just sitting there, and it's windy, and they're outside, and it's windy,
wobbling.
and I'm stressing out like crazy watching this model. Like, don't tip over. And at one point, one of them goes, "Oh Christ!" because they hit it, and it kind of wobbles a bit. And I'm like, please take that thing back inside. We don't need to have it here the whole time.
Yeah, I feel like maybe an extra little support rod on there because it wobbles.
It's like it is wobbling back and forth, and it's really stressful to watch.
Yeah. Anyway, it's good. It's really good. I can't wait for an announcement for season 2 because I'm in. I'm in on all of these Blake 7 Blu-rays. They are superb.
I don't think you wouldn't have been anyway.
Yeah.
But they are very well made.
Yeah, but given that they are basically like taking up a release slot for the Doctor Who, because most of the Doctor Who people are working on these as well, and with no cause, it's really good. They're really good. So it's
did Russell Minton do the exec?
I don't remember. I can't remember if he did or not. Now that I think about it, I
gotta crack the plastic.
You
on that one
do
these days.
Please do it. Come on, just crack the plastic.
I decided it was going to be the next thing I watch after I finish my backlog of Doctor Who stuff, which is all done except episodes 4, 5, and 6 of Web of Fear. So
right,
I just need to watch
Web
the
of
last
Fear,
half of Web
my
of Fear.
God, they're gonna misplace episodes again by the time you watch that. For crying out loud!
Yeti lose. There you go. You're finished.
Yeah. I plowed
it's okay.
through.
What's his putz is a very level-headed guy, and he'll return every Doctor Who he has. So.
Exactly.
Phil Morris.
Not reactionary at all, no.
No, not at all. I should say this. The other thing that I got recently was the Tripods book, All for Nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I plowed through about 200 pages worth in one day, in one
Yeah, you were saying.
I'm not in the least bit surprised.
I ate that book. I had to stop myself. Okay, you know what? This is a good stopping point. I haven't picked it up again since then, but I thought this is good. They've covered the first 2 seasons of the TV show, and then they're going to talk about what happened after that, which is bad news. Of course, it got canceled around the same time as Doctor Who. It is such a tremendous book. Tripods, All for Nothing. Keenly recommend. Not only just for like the Tripods, which is a show that not as many people know about, obviously, but just the production of a TV show around that time.
This leads into my question. Not are you, when are you making your OBRV?
Well, you know what? When I look at it, like, because they had the map of the OB truck, it's basically just any TV production truck. Because OB production is basically for
then
sports.
It's easy.
You know?
You should just do it.
It is literally. There's one in the truck bay at Rogers Place for Oilers games. I could go down.
What are you doing in there?
What are you doing? You should be shooting multicam science fiction drama from the 1980s. You know. Come on.
I'm taking this back in time. You've actually got a Mr. Fusion in the back to take it back in time to shoot multicam in the 80s.
Yeah.
Some people in this world are embracing the notion of van life, and Stephen can embrace the notion of OB van life.
Roughing around in an OB video truck.
I can accept that.
Just set up some lightweight cameras. Like, I'm just going to record this and switch it here in the control room. Don't mind me.
It's just a forest. Nothing is happening.
Nothing at all. Just getting multiple shots of it.
Yeah. I mean, the book has SD, the book has lots of pictures, so that makes you happy, I'm sure.
I've avoided slagging him like that all that time, even though I have every right to.
Thanks for taking a hit there, Chris. You or Kyle made that joke last.
Yeah, there are lots of pictures in it. It's great. It's such a great book.
That was probably me.
Yeah, keenly recommended. Tripods, All for Nothing, rather. Going back to the War Games a little bit, Phil Collinson, I think, is the one that was sort of spearheading this whole War Chief Master.
Trolling.
What did you think about that, Chris? We hadn't heard your thoughts about that, about the War Chief being the Master, told through music alone, basically, but certainly leaning into that.
I enjoyed the musical cue. Actually, just as an aside on that topic, the music overall was, I thought, a lot better than the Daleks.
Right.
It seemed to fit. It wasn't as striking, I guess.
I like how some of them basically, Mark Harris just basically re-recorded the original Dudley Simpson version just so he could sort of and then bridge it into something else, you know. Yeah.
Which, I mean, very reminiscent of his work on Shada, however many years ago.
Yeah, not with the small orchestra. I did ask him about that at Chicago TARDIS if he had access. He did not, but that's fine. It still sounds good.
I haven't had a chance to listen to the Chicago TARDIS stuff
Crack
yet.
the plastic on that one too, right?
Yeah. No, it's on the list.
List.
Honestly, I'm of the camp that doesn't think that the War Chief is the Master. I think you said this last episode, Stephen. The War Chief might be a prototype for the Master because I mean, Dix wrote the character. Well, Dix and Hulk wrote the character, and then that kind of, when they were thinking of what they wanted to do for their Moriarty to the Doctor's Holmes,
Right.
I wouldn't be shocked if the War Chief was like in his brain,
right?
Especially the way the character, like the dress and the Fu Manchu and things like that, just kind of just developed into what Delgado's appearance was.
Mm-hmm.
Delgado pulls it off better. I mean, but he is a proto. He's kind of the Maxwell to the Sixth Doctor. Not really.
Not even that, but
I know. But I kind of with you. Like, it's kind of fun to bounce it around your head, but then he can just be the War Chief. It's fine with me.
Because there's nothing wrong by this point. So by this point in the show's history, we had only ever seen one other person from the Doctor's race as yet unnamed. And even then, there are those out there who maintain that the meddling monk was not. He had a TARDIS, but wasn't necessarily a Time Lord.
Yeah.
Versus this being a very explicit, I am of the same race kind of thing.
That's true.
But I've never ever thought it was the Master, and I'm still there.
It's kind of interesting how Star Wars people go out of their way to criticize, and rightly so, the fact that the galaxy becomes smaller and smaller and smaller because everybody is related in some way. And meanwhile, Doctor Who fans go out of their way to do that. To make things smaller. This person's got to be this person.
I know what you mean. Yeah. Well, tell you what. Let's throw this cat amongst the pigeons here for all you conspiracy folk out there. So, the medallion thing that the War Chief wears in the War Games, that is
very striking.
Well, it's also a prop seen in a previous Doctor Who episode. One of the delegates wears it in the Daleks' Master Plan. Ooh.
Well, just to further muddy the waters,
featuring the meddling monk,
featuring the meddling monk.
Waters isn't not that episode, Bosk's outfit from the Space Museum. So
it's actually
it was in 10th Planet.
Yeah, 10th Planet.
Right. And it was the other way around. 10th Planet first, and then it became.
Well, actually, it was Pathfinders in Space, I think, first, and then it wasn't even made specifically for 10th Planet. But
so it all ties together.
Yeah, and incidentally, the medallion was on. I can't remember the name of the creature, but it's the one that the Doctor knocks out and takes his costume of to sneak into the delegates' meeting and steals the perineum, that thing in episode 2. So the Doctor steals
the
it.
Perineum core.
Perineum core. Yeah.
My favorite thing about Master Plan is still that guy who does that weird breakdancing Olympics prance into the meeting room. He's the best. I love him.
Yeah, breakdancing.
So like as the article in the show notes says, Collinson apparently is like, in my mind, he's always been the Master. But I mean, no, I mean, if
that's fine, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, even Terrence Dix has sort of drawn lines to that too. Apparently, he says it. Apparently, it's mentioned in Time Worm Exodus. There's a certain,
it says 1990 whatever.
Yeah, but it's Terrence Dix and Malcolm Hall kind of referred to it too, and.
I'm going to go back to my immortal maxim. There's no such thing as official pretend. If you want it to be, sure. If you don't want it to be, fine. It doesn't really matter either way.
That's exactly it. It's open to interpretation, and I think you're fine if you fall on either side of the debate.
I mean, musically, that dramatic where they both recognize each other, the music is perfect for it. Let's face it. And at the time, I was thinking, they just use this music in the same way that for some stupid reason they use like the ring race music in The Hobbit when that big giant orc shows up,
which makes no sense.
Thorin
but thematically, it's cool.
Yeah. It sounds good, but it's just like this is not generic evil music. It's specific to that character.
Here's the opposite. Of course, as one does, I was watching Die Hard Christmas Eve, and And I said, and this annoyed me in the theater in 1988 when, what's his name, Alexander Godunov pops up with the gun. That's James Horner's Klingon music. James Horner did not do the music for Die Hard. That was Michael Kamen. Great score, but for whatever reason, they needed to put this villain music in at the end. And I remember in the theater going, that's the Klingon music. What the hell is this? The one thing that takes me out of that movie.
Wow.
Otherwise,
Star
expertly
Trek 3?
crafted film.
Was that 2?
Or 2, yeah. 3, it must be 3, yeah.
Wow, I didn't know that. Jeez. Gosh. Travesty.
Now I've ruined it. Now I've shown you Matt lines on Star Wars in audio form.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Well, anyway.
Speaking of...
we got...
was it Horner who did Lord of the Rings?
No, that's
no, it was Walsh.
Howard Shore.
Howard Shore of David Cronenberg movie fame. Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, apparently there's some music from there that sounds very much like Disney stuff as well. So
what a great
they
soundtrack.
borrow. I mean, there's only so many notes.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
I watched a little interview from I don't know how long ago with John Williams. And they're just talking about doing the introductory notes to the theme for Indiana Jones. Mm-hmm. And at the end of the day, like he doesn't say this, but I do. But anyway, there's only so many notes. There's only so many arrangements you can make. And the fact we've had this many decades of quote unquote original music is shocking, really, in some ways.
By the way, music by John Williams, excellent documentary. If you got Disney Plus, I highly recommend it.
Oh, really?
It's
very, very good.
I still haven't watched Beatles 64.
Neither have I.
No. That's middling, I hear. I hear it's middling, that one.
Nothing's going to beat Get Back, though.
Your love of Get Back is also because it's basically studio footage.
So
you're not a reliable witness in any of this.
That's true. I also bought that on Blu-ray. I bought that on Blu-ray and Andor on Blu-ray. That's how much I appreciate those two things. Bought it. Purchased actual physical copies, which, to be fair,
I'm going to get back to watching Andor. I got to do I think it works best in the chunks of what it's made as.
Yeah, honestly, it does. As the first 3 episodes are one.
First three. So I'm going to try and do that when it comes out again. I'll just wait, and I probably won't wait. But
no, I'm going to watch.
At least this time I know what's coming, right? So the way they're doing it.
And as I said, I know that Andor was for some reason was not the viewing figures darling. It was the critical figure darling. But like Andor's probably going to be out at the same time as Doctor Who at some point. It's going to overlap, and I'm like. Mm-hmm. They're going to be entirely different shows. But
excuse me, Starfleet Academy. That's what I've got my money on. No, wait a minute. I don't at all.
No, you don't. I don't even know when that's coming out.
I don't care.
They're not still making it. They're still making it. So
they are. I keep seeing people like casting announcements for it.
Yeah.
But I have no idea when it's meant to come out.
Well, I've got a friend who worked behind the scenes on Discovery. I hope he gets work on that. That's the extent of what I care about.
Are they shooting that in Toronto as well?
I think so.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they are. Yeah.
It's half of the actors are Discovery people, so you'd think so. They're probably Canadians.
I did say that. Yeah. You don't believe me, Warren? It's in Toronto. They literally are shooting it in Toronto. Yeah. So.
All right.
They've renamed the name of the studio to like the Star Trek studio now. They shoot so much Star Trek in Toronto now, so it's like
I mean, I'm conflicted on that. You could just not make that Star Trek, but make Star Trek in Toronto.
It just seems weird. Hey, let's talk about dead people. Toby Hadoke's 2024 In Memoriam video is out. It's wonderfully done, of course, with a whole host of people who we lost in 2024 and before. Mm-hmm. Some people who passed in
2017.
Yeah,
for one person.
Recent years that it just hadn't come to light. But so that's there in the show notes if you want to have a look.
Being a fan content creator, as the three of us are,
right.
I was very happy to see inclusions of people like Siobhan Galachon and Ed Comstock and Caitlin Thomas.
Yeah, it was lovely. Actually, it was lovely.
But sad too, obviously.
Yeah, but they played a bigger role in Doctor Who too. So it's it was a nice tribute. Once again, Toby, well done. All your hard work on that pays off. Of course, in that video is Arnold Yarrow, who died at age 104 last month, and the official obituary for that went up in The Guardian. That's the show notes. Of course, Toby Hadoke wrote that because that's what he does. He does them well, so that's why he writes them. 104, Arnold Yarrow. That is an amazing
Hell yeah.
run.
Well done.
Yep, an amazing run.
Him and Jimmy Carter. Well done to both of them.
Yep. Speaking of fan content creators, there's Jess Jerkovic has been working on this for a long time, but it's finally out now. Record, reuse, and recycle the 60s Doctor Who incidental music. It's all about how a lot of it gets in the 60s story. He focuses on like 4 or 5 specific cases to make his points and stuff about how, a composer, be it Dudley Simpson, be it Don Harper in The Invasion, would like contribute basically, several different tracks, and the director would use them as seen fit. And like there are cases like about like half of the score that they actually create for it doesn't even get used. They just loop certain bits of it and stuff. He breaks it down. It is nerdy. It goes into deep detail. I watched it over the course of 2 nights, including last night, and it's great. So links in the show notes for Jess Jerkovic's of course, Jess Jerkovic did the Doctor Who is Dudley Simpson series where he transposes stuff and played it on piano, which is really great too. He's
been on the show a few times.
He has. He talked about Carrie Blyton, for instance. He was on the Miniscope for that.
Yeah, that's right.
He's on there. So
I have insufficient opinions. So
yes, well,
he agreed to replace me.
Yeah. Insufficient opinions sounds kind of harsh, frankly.
No insufficient opinions wanted, basically.
It sounds like something Wotan would say. Insufficient opinion.
Yeah, exactly.
I haven't asked him directly, but hopefully he's at Galley.
I don't know. Yeah, I was wondering that too as I was watching that. Yeah, hopefully we'll see him there. But
I'll have to drop him a line.
Will do. And some Big Finish stuff to wrap up the news segment before we get on with the Moonbase commentary. Big Finish, the Stuff of Legend, the live show, which I talked briefly with Paul McGann about on stage at Chicago TARDIS a couple weeks ago on this podcast. You heard that. That is out now. So too is a YouTube video of the behind the scenes, the making of, and all that went into it. Looked like a pretty cool event, honestly. So that's out now. Links in the show notes to watch that. And the Paul Spragg Memorial Doctor Who short trip short story is out as well. It's called War Stories by Patrick Ross, performed by Alan Cox, featuring the 12th Doctor and Bill. So that is out.
Hell yeah. We need more Bill content.
I agree. Damn it. I feel like I want to watch series 10 again, just because I like Peter Capaldi, and I like Bill, and I like Doctor Who, which is why we've been doing this podcast for almost 1,000 episodes. Yeah,
it's also a season that shouldn't exist in the form that it does.
Right. Yeah.
Moffat had no plans to still be there.
Nope. But he still.
But he still was.
Still did. Still did it.
Very, very JNT in that way.
It is in a way. Persuaded him to stay. All right, that is it. That is it for our news after the very short break. It's our classic series commentary for the Moonbase Episode 1.
Are the microphones wired in?
All round the condenser, most merciful. We're looking forward to excellent duodecaphonic sound.
This is the moment when I get a real feeling of job satisfaction.
It's time for a Radio Free Skaro classic series commentary, folks. This time around, we're dipping back to 1967 for the Summer of Love and the loveliest, sexiest episode of Doctor Who ever.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
The Moonbase.
That totally intended to feature Jamie from the outset.
100%, as we'll see here. And actually, I assume you have all of your legally purchased DVDs and perhaps by the time way off in the future, Blu-rays of this. Adventure, we'll be watching the Moonbase. Of course, episodes 1 and 3 are currently missing as time we're recording and have been animated by very skilled animators, so we'll be watching that as part 1, which we will play right now in 3, 2, 1, play. You forget that it's the Hartnell titles to start off until when? Faceless Ones, episode 2.
I always want animated Troughton face. For some reason, I appreciate that they don't do that. It'd be kind of cool if they did.
The Troughton face and the well, I mean, this is an older animation, so they just use the existing opening titles, but other ones they've actually animated it just to keep it all under the same umbrella. But
probably a dumb question, but I don't actually know this answer.
Oh, okay.
So when I'm sitting there watching like color animations of, I don't know, let's say Faceless Ones, for example.
Right.
Was it so when the opening titles were done? So though they're in color in these animations, so are the reds and the blues and whatever colors, were they defined by something?
No,
when they were made, or is that just interpretation?
Just interpretation. Because when they made, for instance, when it came time to make the Jon Pertwee opening titles, they thought, "Ooh, color! This should be really cool with the visual feedback and stuff." And they tried it. And the results were disappointing. This doesn't look anywhere as good. So the Pertwee ones actually were, I think, filmed in black and white, and then put a color filter on.
Yeah,
the
filter
changing
makes sense.
The changing color filters is because they actually recorded that in black and white because the effect was unremarkable. That's
kind of neat.
What, the TARDIS materializing or the?
Well, that too, actually. This animation's pretty good.
The
TARDIS materializing after they've already seen what's on the scanner.
Oh, it doesn't make sense.
You're right.
I guess they were in orbit or something, maybe.
Yeah,
I do like the character drawings, though, or tracings, or whatever they're doing here.
Yeah,
it
these
looks
are
good.
The Pup 55. This is I can't remember who did these. It's the same one that did Reign of Terror, I want to say, and what other Troughton one did they do? I can't remember now, but. This is before all the Power of the Daleks ones. And
the thing is, the last animated thing I watched was that insane one for the Daleks Master Plan, so anything's going to look good comparatively, because that was utterly bananas.
Oh, for Feast of... Which one was that? Feast of Stephen?
I think it was Feast of Stephen, yes. It was Feast of Stephen, and it was just... I was like, am I high right now, or am I having a stroke? What's going on here?
I don't... I have yet to watch, and I'm looking forward to watching. I'm sure we'll have already talked about this ad nauseum, but I will have watched it by the time this commentary comes out. But the CG animation that they made for Wheel in Space, which is
cool looking.
I know.
Her dress. Please explain that to me. I'm sure it's from the previous episode.
It is
Underwater Menace.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're all wearing outfits from the Underwater Menace. Which, you know what, this is what changes things nowadays. Because if they were to do this now, they'd probably just have them in their basic outfits because, but we don't want to link back to previous episodes,
Those outfits, those helmets.
These are great.
You
can stick an orange spacesuit.
Compared to what we see in, say, Terminus.
That's right.
These are pretty darn good.
They are.
They are very, we hadn't landed on the moon yet, right? So these are very much, I guess we'd seen astronauts, so this is a little more 50s-ish, but I do like these giant impractical domes.
Yeah.
Oh, this makes me think of 20s, 30s serialized sci-fi.
Yeah, absolutely.
El Cheapo Productions. Yeah, exactly.
It's exciting.
There's some horny monster trying to, for whatever reason, with 16 tentacles. A human woman. That never made any sense to me. I'm why the hell does this octopus thing care? Why wouldn't you go for octopuses?
Even in 1967, I'd say those look very retro.
Yeah, they do.
They do, kind of, yeah. All done in Ealing, though. You see the footage of Ealing that we have from 2 and 4 of mostly Cybermen on the moon. It actually looks pretty good,
I'm kind of glad we have animation for this. This would look pretty stupid on studio.
They can make a lot more out of it with animation, to be sure.
Mm. Doctor Who and his friends.
Even if they did wire work and painted out the wires, they may not do as good a job.
Yeah. By
paint out, you mean cross their fingers.
Yeah.
K9 Brighton Beach kind of.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
That was almost 15 years later.
Have you ever seen the wire that's pulling K9 along in the Leisure Hive? Because I haven't properly looked for it, I have to admit.
I swear I have, but that might be me just concocting things in my head too.
Was it painted out for the DVD? I don't even know.
I don't know either. They better not. Damn it.
You'll just have to find your off-air recording from KSPS and
that's true.
Find out there.
No, the thing is, if you record in VHS EP, that pretty much paints it out on its own.
That's why they got away with it in the first place.
It looks like garbage. Yeah, a lot of this it's like soap opera sets up to the HD era. It looked like crap because they knew they could get away with it.
Yeah. Let's face it, the same sets kind of exist for any film. It's just they could cut around it because they're on film, Not when you're having to sort of basically put it up as a play, as Doctor Who is, apart from this. It's worth noting that at this time in history, I believe, all the way up until the end of season 4, we are literally recording 6 days before broadcast.
Madness. Look at that tape. Oh, look at that.
I know.
That's a computer.
Although the Ealing stuff was shot, I think, probably a couple weeks before. But this stuff would have been 6 days prior. So that when it comes to episode 4, when we get there, when there's the audio snafus that they have, very similar problem to what they had with one of the episodes of the Daleks back in 63. They had no choice. They just had to work around it, and because it was going to air in 6 days. So
episode 1 was broadcast February 11th, and the pre-filming at Ealing took place January 17th.
That's an eternity.
So 25 days between pre-filming and broadcast.
For the Ealing.
Canada's appeared.
There you go, for the Ealing stuff. But TV Center, though, when they record, they're in Live Grove.
Scenes with guest stars in the Cybermen were shot January 18th, and the Cybermen shots on the lunar landscape were shot January 19th. Right. Model filming January 20th. Rehearsals began January 31st. First 3 episodes were recorded on successive Saturdays.
There you go.
At Riverside 1. But for episode 4, it moved back to Lime Grove D. Recordings began February 4th. So, yeah, a week before.
Yeah,
You're right.
A week. Yeah, 6 days. 7 days, yeah. 7 days. Can you believe that? 7 days before broadcast.
And back in that era, there was no way they're sitting there on a Saturday night doing edits and cuts. So
no.
I mean, call it 5 days, really.
It's all done on Monday, yeah.
At most.
And if you think about it, this, when we ask Fraser Hines at conventions, oh, what did do you remember watching this? No, he doesn't remember it because he literally worked every single Saturday, basically, making Doctor Who. Because it was shot on Saturdays.
Thinking the whole time, why am I not at the pub right now? This is ridiculous.
Well, because like Doctor Who has aired. Like the previous episode of Doctor Who has aired when this here episode is being recorded, essentially,
That day,
you would have never seen it go out live. It's
and you would be way too busy trying to remember your lines and all the rest of it to just remember it after you're done. It's just like when I would write an article for like my job,
right? I
would forget about the minute I submitted it. It's like, I correct this. I don't care about it anymore.
But yeah, episode 4 of Underwater Madness, February 4th is when it went out. When it went out.
Madness. So the outfit that we see, or Polly wear, has just, oh God.
I'm going to use that term. You could use an extra bacteria check from what I can see. I'm definitely using that in casual conversation. I'll go for like a lead balloon, but I'll do it anyway.
Yeah, we talked over.
Do it at Doctor Who Con, then at least.
What? It's from episode 1 of the Moonbase. What you don't know about that? You don't know what the Moonbase is? Oh well,
bad fan.
Yeah.
The person's like, "Sir, I'm a bank teller. Leave me alone."
We talked over it, but Jamie was injured in the shenanigans on the moon, which conveniently puts him into a stretcher and a hospital bed for the bulk of this episode.
Was that the title of this episode? Particular shenanigans in the moon?
It was pretty much. And thus preventing having to write in this brand new character from 2 episodes.
That shadow under his lip looks like a soul patch.
It does a little bit.
Seriously,
it does a little bit on Patrick Brown there. Yeah. 2050. Here's the funny thing. It's so this story takes place in 2070. 2070 is closer than 1967 is when this story was made.
If I'm lucky or unlucky, be 100 years old.
Unlucky. Why am I still here? Oh, at least the Moonbase is canon. Then you die.
That's how I'm going out. Yeah. And Baron Trump will be emperor. It'll be great.
He'll have been.
And he'll also be a sandworm for some reason.
That's true. Oh, can't wait to the future. Look at this wonderful future.
I mean, if I thought in the 80s, and I did think, I wonder what the year of the 2020s would be like. I was so wrong.
Yeah.
Way cooler is what I thought. Not as dumb.
I do believe that one of these, oh no, it's a French one. I think that one of these non-speaking extras does have a Canada badge on them, I think.
They better.
So
I want to say you're correct.
Yeah.
And was that added in the animation just for the hell of it, or is it
no,
legit thing?
It's an actual character thing.
Yeah, they weren't taking liberties with Easter eggs as they maybe did later on.
So this now being well, we're approaching 60 years old.
Yeah.
Do you think we are equally more or less concerned about so a situation like this, about having people's nationalities so prominently on display?
No, I mean, if you're part of a space, like if you go up in the shuttle now, or well, not the shuttle, obviously, but like if you go up onto the ISS, you've got your country you're with, America or Russia or whatever it might be, right? Mm-hmm. So I think it would be there anyway, just as a matter of course, because you are being sent there by your government. This might be different. I don't know.
I think also it's a shorthand of going, let's just talk. I can't talk to English to this person. He's got a German flag.
Okay, obviously, yes, in the practical sense it is. But I mean, if this was like a UN mission or something, they'd probably all have UN flags or something. You know, if it's as unified as they're trying to make it be, it would probably just be a company, and you wouldn't have the flag in the first place. But
but I think this is a government. We're trying to figure out the logistics of all this, but it's fascinating.
We're putting a hell of a lot more thought than they did.
I know. It's fascinating to tie this into like the Seeds of Death, for instance, which also has a moon base, and like does that? I can't remember if Seeds of Death happens before or after the moon base canonically. You know,
like when it takes place.
Yeah.
Depends on when humans weaponized foam. Or no, actually, that was the Ice Warriors weaponized foam. Never mind. Or was it the humans? I don't remember.
No, you're talking Seeds of Death and Fury from the Deep. So maybe it was the humans plus the
there's foam in Seeds of Death.
There is, but it's the same foam from Fury from the Deep. That just like, you know, they got a foam machine. Has Doctor Who said anything here since they come to the moon base? Just stand.
Yeah, he talked about what year it is.
Oh, right. This is basically the same kind of setup as the 10th Planet, which is it's a sequel. It's just like base, a bunch of people from different countries, Cybermen invade it, you know.
Well, Kip Pedler can pull the Terry Nation card if he wants to. Yeah, also, I'm naming this moon base if it doesn't already have a name, Soul Patch 1, because everybody's got a soul patch.
I don't know. Oh wow, a spaceship landing here. Oh my god,
which indicate. Oh yeah, that's good stuff. Which indicates that they're part of the Jazz Nation. No matter what flag they wear.
Jazz Nation.
I like how they just have a phone, like a rotary phone dialer.
I noticed that. Yeah, that is digital for us. Programming they go on it.
That arm's got a serious like anime glint to it, though.
Did a little bit with some
like when you see anime food and it looks good. That's kind of what's on that arm
with some wiffle balls on it. Yeah. Having Doctor Who wear mittens like that saves you from
the little squares on his shoulder makes me think that's Spider-Man every time I see it.
I was gonna say like even the gloves there feel like it's Spider-Man's outfit. It was voiced by whatever Canadian actor it was that did it in the one and only true Spider-Man adaptation, exactly. The 1960s cartoon made in Canada.
Why is there not an Infinata from the Revolt in Dimension 5 episode Action Dolly? This is my holy grail, my white whale. Every other whatever you want to say, that's the Action Dolly I have to have. Is one of those that doesn't exist.
The way I was going to say it doesn't exist. Yeah.
Now I'm doing nothing but looking for this flag, this Canadian flag.
I know. Well, you know, I can't remember if it's actually in the animated version or if it's just in the background of, or maybe the animators didn't know how to draw a Canadian flag. It is literally the most simplest.
It's very difficult. Yes.
What a great design our flag is. Symmetrical, 2 colors.
Can't argue with that.
1 leaf. You know, it's pretty easy. Ben's got a nice shirt on though. If we see it again,
that is a snazzy shirt.
Yeah.
In fact, it's kind of a shooty shirt.
Yeah, I bet you. Yeah, you know what? You could.
Well, at least I'm deciding it is.
Yeah, I know. It's like
because it's black and white, so it can be any color I want it to be.
Probably bought it on Carnaby Street or something like that.
In 1623, or after.
After.
It's made entirely of burlap.
Yeah. Burlap.
And cow dung.
Good old Jamie. As Ben and Polly just look on and they go, oh, there's the guy that's taking our jobs. All right.
And these guys all have Revenge of the Cyberman disease.
Yeah.
Is it the same disease, that one and this one?
No, but you know what? You could...
But it may as well be.
Yeah. Is this the beginning of the overly complicated Cybermen plots where they basically have to poison the sugar to kill off the crew?
Cybermen, I can't think of a good plot they've ever had.
No.
All their plots have been dumb.
Always
it's only the second Cyberman story, so.
Which is why I hate the Cyberlords, but is that any stupider than the rest of them? Only marginally.
Like the Time Lord Cybermen?
Yeah, that's just dumb.
Well, like, the Wheel in Space one where they have to okay, we got to do this and move this to the ship here and get that over there, and they have to hide in the thing and go across. So hopefully that works out, and then maybe we have to go over there, then take them over with Cybermen, then do this, and then only then can we do this, And
I mean, the story after that, Revenge of the Cybermen, also pretty, convoluted.
Ludicrous. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Ludicrous.
Maybe.
Not great planners. Not great planners.
Because, Tomb of the Cybermen doesn't happen without a lot of, complicated stuff from the people, the humans.
Yeah, Tobias Vaughn, straightens them out.
Invasion is kind of predicated on, yeah, maybe.
Earth shock. It's like, we're going to hijack a ship and then make it travel, destroy Earth by running a spaceship into it. All right, that's fine, I guess. You got to do what you got to do. You can't recognize it. We'll probably talk about it later. But this guy here, I can't remember the actor's name, but he was in Fawlty Towers. Played the French chef who was cooking Basil Fawlty's food for gourmet night, basically. And
in the animation, a lot of these guys are Chesterton coded.
Yeah.
Andre Moran.
That's the one.
Apparently.
Played a French person in many, many things. I think, wasn't he in... what's that Michael Caine Steve Martin vehicle, Dirty Rotten Scoundrels?
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels, yeah.
I think he's in that. I think he plays Is he not in that?
Well, I don't know. Selected filmography ends in 1985.
Oh, okay.
Dirty Rotten Scoundrels was what, 88?
Who was in that? Who am I thinking of who was in that?
You thinking like the valet butler guy?
No, I'm thinking of the guy who was the local cop who's he's on the tape.
Oh, yeah.
He's played by someone who was in Doctor Who. Now it's bugging me. We will.
Okay.
Oh my God! I think it's a Cyberman. I think I was a Cyberman. I saw a flash of a Cyberman. That there is a black actor with a speaking role in Doctor Who. That's a rarity in these days.
That is a rarity right now. It's not the first though, is it? No,
but Earl Cameron was.
Yeah, did Tomb come before this?
No, but Earl Cameron was in 10th Planet earlier this season.
Right.
Of course, he's an astronaut. Very notable role.
So,
and he lived to be 100, didn't he?
He lived to be 103.
Nicely done, Earl Cameron.
Yeah.
In Inspector Andre, played by Anton Rogers.
Rogers. That's
was
who
not
it was.
in Doctor Who.
No, he was in The Prisoner. Played number 2 in The Schizoid Man, amongst many other things. But I knew it was an actor I remember because we watched it relatively recently. That's cool. And his name began with an A, and that's why I got confused. And it was in France, so that's why I also got confused.
Yes.
You know how it goes.
I always mean to rewatch The Prisoner, and I never do.
It's really good, Warren.
I'm aware of that. I have seen it.
Yeah, it's pretty good. I've been watching since the 50th anniversary. When Erica and I watched it. No, you're not a fan. That's right.
No.
It was being made. It was being conceived and or written around this time at the Moonbase.
Just right about now.
Yeah,
Patrick
literally.
McGowan is high as hell.
Oh my God. The LSD is really kicking in, and let's do this. Let's make a show. It's a gum wrapper.
I mean, it's an argument for LSD because that's a great show.
It's a great show.
That and Sgt. Pepper's.
I was going to say Sgt. Pepper's and The Prisoner, both probably LSD infused. 1967, yeah. But then everyone started taking them to think that, everything's amazing, man. Look at this.
It's just like every other thing. It's like everything. Although the thing about the 60s, and I've said this before, even people ripping off the Beatles were doing a great job. Like Moody Blues. Those guys are consummate rip-off artists. But Days of Future Past is a great album.
Oh, man. Come on. The Moody Blues.
That's a good album because they're ripping off the Beatles.
Because
you can't help but be good.
Faux Beatles. Who wants that? I'd rather just listen to the Beatles.
But
like the Ruddles?
My argument is that music was so good back then, and you cannot argue against this, Stephen. You probably will, Chris. That even if you were a consummate rip-off artist, the Monkees, That's still good stuff. Like, even though it is by definition a ripoff.
Right. It's the recording quality that you could tell when you've got a really good producer, which is what the Beatles had, compared to lesser recordings of the around the same time. Like, they just didn't know how to mix back then. It was like, oh, we'll just put the drums all on the left channel and the guitar on the right channel, and like that was
all
it.
I'm saying is that music was really good back then. So even if you sucked, you could still do some good stuff.
I mean,
that's true.
They barely had stereo audio.
Yeah,
they barely had stereo audio at that point in time.
Yeah.
I mean, what do you expect them to do?
They still had mono mixes for albums.
Peppers was like an 8-track, which was really a 4-track that they were doing trickery with.
Mm-hmm. Quite notable. All around the same time. I'm so curious now when they recorded Sgt. Pepper's, because we're in February '67 here.
Presumably 66 to 67 or 66.
Yeah, December 6, 66 until April 21st.
Pet Sounds came out before it, and it's an insane work of genius too. So
the Beatles are right now, this very day in history, February 4th, 1967, recording
Halfway through.
Yeah.
The amazing part is, and it still happens nowadays to a lesser degree, but the fact it took 4.5 months to record Sgt. Pepper which
is an eternity
seems
back then.
Insane.
Probably, just an
but I mean,
eternity.
think about all the stuff they were doing. Like,
yeah. I know. It reminds me of a good joke from the Ruddles. Their first album took a week to record. The second, even longer. And
my favorite Ruddles joke is still, this man wore underwear in the bath because he never wanted to look at the unemployed. That's a great joke. Just a complete throwaway too.
Paulie saw something. I think we're approaching cliffhanger territory here.
You might be right.
Oh, what'll happen on Soul Patch 1?
Soul Patch 1.
It's not even the right color of hair of that shadow. Like, if you had dark hair, then maybe Soul Patch, but
who cares about accuracy?
Nah.
Well, you do, obviously, but I don't. So here we are.
You're really embracing the 60s Doctor Who ethic.
Yeah, see, the Doctor's growing a soul patch. It's spreading everywhere. That's the true disease, not this veiny thing.
How's Paulie's soul patch doing?
Less good as this episode goes along, but
there's no.
That's when you know there's a disease with Paulie's growing a soul patch.
Mm-hmm.
What? Where'd this get on my face?
See, he's wearing an onion salad scarf because he's French. You see,
that is a very jaunty scarf.
I know. Well, apparently
how else would you know he's French?
Exactly. Apparently, his name tag was wrong. Had a spelling mistake on it. And so they had his scarf to cover it up. Is basically how it worked. But how successful that was, well, who can tell?
Paulie, I'm just going to leave you alone for a moment right now.
Yeah.
Yep. That's a good idea, Doctor.
I know you're clearly
That's a really
under some
convenient
stress,
idea,
but,
Doctor.
Yeah, but you'll be fine. You'll be fine, Paul. Come on. You'll be fine. I'm checking a Beatles history thing as we watch Jamie rise up here in a slightly rotoscoped animation of the part in episode 2 that exists, and the new
look at this bad boy.
Before this very day, Friday, February 3rd, 1967, the Beatles recorded "A Day in the Life." How's that for
neat?
Or they recorded. I've recorded portions of it anyway, but we'll.
One of their
I love this segment.
Their one song I can't listen to.
Oh, that's right, because of the movie that John Lennon movie.
How it was used in 1988. Imagine it just breaks my heart, man.
Oh,
breaks my heart.
Yeah, he died. Spoiler.
He did.
And now his son is a mega head. Great.
Yeah.
As we record this,
literally this day in history,
a few days past the anniversary of his death, aren't we?
Was it? No, it's December 9th. Literally the day we're recording this.
This. Interesting.
Whoa.
Okay. I mean, yes, he was a bad person. Yes, he was spousal abuser and all that. He had some negative aspects. Mm-hmm. To be sure.
Complicated legacy, I believe, is how we say
it. That's not a good one.
Hey, there's Chris Chapman in there, yeah. As we look at I forgot, I think this is Chris Chapman's outfit before, or alongside when he was doing documentaries. I can't remember where this is in the chronology of Chris Chapman, but that's who's doing the
Sean's
animation.
One, just a cool name.
Yeah, for Planet 55. So 2014. How about that?
Yep. Pup co-production. Pup is Chapman's firm. So.
Yeah. Oh, there we are. That's the part one of the books. Next week, actual moving pictures from the time when the Beatles were recording the Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts
The more
Club
important part of
Band.
this whole thing.
Exactly. So join us for the Moonbase Episode 2 on the next Classic Series commentary. Until next time, I am Stephen in Edmonton.
Warren in Vancouver.
And Chris in Edmonton.
So long for now.